Hi, my name is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns, and you're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role-playing games with friends. This is the final session of a mini series that we've been running here in the month of September 2023. The mini series is part of an anthology series that I kicked off this year. I've had so much fun with Star Wars Saturdays that I launched MCU Sundays. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is our playground for the tabletop RPGs. And we've been bouncing along some of the MCU timelines, playing lots of different games. And it's been really fun as people create wholly original characters or pick up characters from comic books or from the MCU official that have appeared. And I've quite loved using MCU as the lingua franca with like a Marvel backdrop and lots of original ideas thrown in. This series has been really fun because it's taking a game that I quite like called Impulse Drive from Adrian Toon. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the inspirations for Impulse Drive, so it made perfect sense to pour Impulse Drive back into the idea of a Guardians of the Galaxy auxiliary team. So if you have not watched the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, you should. This takes place after Volume 3. So there was a mix up at the end of Volume 3 where some members of the movie MCU Guardians of the Galaxy went off and others joined the team. And the idea here is that the PCs are all part of like, hey, the Guardians can't take care of all the galaxy. You're the secondary team. You're the auxiliary group, and they've been pretty messed up, found family, squabbling amongst themselves, kind of thing, while also doing the right thing. I I have to admit that I also was secretly doing like glomming onto some Space Knight ROM stuff, which we've leaned heavily into. They have been dealing with the Dire Wraiths, who are the enemies of Space Knight ROM and the Space Knights from Galador, and the last session ended with them heading to Galador to try to understand the technology that they use to detect dire wraiths or possibly recruit some of the Space Knights to help them because the expectation is that nowhere, which is the place where they are headquartered, that is the head of a deceased celestial as a space station is possibly infected with dire wraiths, so that's a problem. Let's go around the horn for one last time and have everyone remind us of the characters they are playing. We will do this in the order of the character keeper, starting from the right-hand side to the left. So, Greg, if you could please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your character.
Hi, I'm Greg. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Sir Balin, also he, him. Sir Balin is a Arthurian knight who is also a vampire and is very interested in these fellow space knights, for they are truly knights and not cybernetic warriors, surely. Not robots. That would be preposterous. I think last session we ended with Sir Balin in the hold and gifting our departed friend Edgar a weapon. He's not
I'm
departed.
not sure what you're talking about, departed friend. So
Our
yeah. Anyway,
our now NPC friend
oh yes, that's right.
Edgar.
Indeed. Beautimus. Fantastic. And what did you give get Edgar again? Just as a reminder?
Oh, nothing. Just a weapon, a dagger.
Just a dagger. Just a dagger. Oh man. Et tu, Brute. Stephen, you're up next. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your character.
Hi, my name is Steven. My pronouns are he, him. And today I'm playing Bug, whose pronouns are also he, him. And Bug is a dexterous kind of trickster, kind of, you know, no nonsense. I'm not going to lie about stuff, and I have to out any lies that are happening. Um, he was evidently an obscure member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but we'll probably never see him on screen due to licensing rights and all that kind of stuff because he was also part of a toy line. But yay, Bug. He's from, I don't know if I mentioned this, he's from the Microverse. Um, So he was seen in like comics like Micronauts, and I think there was an X-Men crossover. So, yep,
It was an X-Men Microverse crossover?
I think so.
I'll be Googling that soon. Thank you very much. Last but certainly not least is Buddy Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I use he, him, and I'm playing Julio Bandex the Seventh from the line of the Bandex. He is a grizzled warhorse. He has been battling the Brood for years. He is 6 inches tall, but that's perfectly normal, unlike everyone else around him who are just weird mega sapiens. He has taken over the role as leadership, but delegating, diplomacy and trade and day-to-day stuff. The
Nice.
important things, he is in charge. And
That's true. That was
everyone
worked
has
out.
totally agreed with that. It wasn't just Julio deciding it and then walking out the room before anyone could actually say, excuse me.
Yes, he accepted the mantle of being in charge during combat, leaving it loose for, I assume, Julio to define when combat happens and when that other
he'll
stuff.
tell you, yes.
Okay,
Don't worry.
yes, he will inform you of when you can do your talking stuff, which I think is great. So excited. Cool. As much as I love Impulse Drive, I also am addicted to the idea of like hacking and adding on and pulling in from other games when I need it. And there are some great moves in Impulse Drive. No lie. Full stop. Great moves. That said, there is not a move specifically for going from place A to place B. And that was something I was interested in having for this session. So, as is my wont, I did not design anything on my own. Oh, I'm going to turn my video off because it's getting a little fuzzy. I'm going to turn it right back on. And clearer. Yay, magic. So, wonder how that's going to show up on the AI summary. Anyway. I liberally stole, as is my wont. I just synthesize. I'm a remixer. I'm like a DJ in a way, one might say, in like a wedding DJ, where I just find the greatest hits and I mix them all together, and then people dance and have fun and pay me money, except for the money part. And so I have stolen A Long Journey from Fellowship. Fellowship's really cool game. Recently released like 3 books as part of crowdfunding, and it's got lots of neat ideas about how to structure play in an almost GM-less format. And this has a bit of that. So A Long Journey is the story of traveling from point A to point B. You guys were at nowhere. We'd framed a couple of downtime scenes between your characters, including a now NPC character known as Edgar, who is totally excited about having this new dagger and is absolutely not a Dire Wraith who has this cool and awesome dagger, and is not a Dire Wraith who's trying to work against you in your goals of reaching the Space Knights to destroy the Dire Wraiths. So there. So the journey is this move that I'm going to slide in here so that we together can tell the story of heading to Galador, or Galadoria, or the Galadorians, which is the home planet of the Space Knights. And I had, I think I mumbled where it might be, but I'll just definitively declare at the top of this session that it is near the edges of the Kree Empire. And so the Long Journey move is the story of going from point A to point B, from nowhere to Galador. During a journey, each player tells us one event that happened along the way, starting with whoever you like. The Space Master, that's me, may frame the event by asking a player the question first, like what was really dangerous about this leg of the journey, or who did you meet on the read? I don't even know why it says read. On the way. How about we say, because
It
it's
might
not
be
actually
road.
I think it was supposed to be road. Anyway, after someone describes the event, the event itself, they choose another player at the table, and that other player will tell us how they handled the event. So someone says this is a thing that happened, and points to another player, and that other player says, "Here's how we dealt with it." We can do that purely in an abstract, like we're just talking, or we can drop into a scene. We'll judge that based on the heat of the event that's been thrown out, or if Rich just is itching to have you guys talk in character. We'll figure it out as we go. So after you describe the event and then the player has been chosen to talk about how it was handled, each event gets as much or as little detail as it needs. And then the Space Master will also set a scene during the journey telling the PCs how your crew or ship made the journey harder. And after every event has been resolved, you make it to your destination. Uh, if you look on our map, we have not defined where nowhere is. So that's a good thing. And it means that we can figure out where it needs to be at the beginning of our story. So, with everyone having heard about this long journey as a move, I am interested in hearing first from, I want to hear from Bug or Stephen, however you want to phrase this. Do you want me to prompt you with a question, Stephen, or do you have an idea for the first event of the journey?
I do have an idea.
Oh, excellent.
So I think we are a certain time period, maybe a third of the way through the journey.
Maybe
And
it's a third of the way. Yeah, that's pretty clever. I
yeah.
like that. That's smart.
And we need to stop and refuel and, stretch our legs, as it were. We're getting a little cooped up, and we know that there's a place that we can stop and get some additional fuel. And we stop off on this planet. Um, it's not really well known. We just know that it's a refueling point. And I think while we're there, it turns out we find out this refueling point is a ambush for bandits. And I'd like to see how Julio deals with that.
Ooh, how does Julio Bandex the Seventh, who is the official leader during times of strife and combat, how does I think I want to add a little. So I think that if this is okay, Stephen, I think the idea of this fuel depot it was originally just an asteroid, and more ships have arrived, and now it's become this almost a non-moving flotilla. So I'm kind of biting off of the idea of like raft cities in Asia, where there's an entire bay covered with variety of different ships, and so official leader of conflict and strife is totally a thing that Julio needs to stick in his title. So there are all these other ships that are just permanently attached to this thing, most of them derelicts. Some of them may have some power in case the asteroid needs to be moved. But it's been around for a while, and it does turn out that, yes, it is run by bandits. So thank you for that. Selfish Rich wants to insert like this detail that popped into my head. Alex, tell us, how does Julio Bandex the Seventh, official leader for conflict and strife, handle?
Yes. First I would be like, now I know as like bandits are drawing guns on us, I would put a hand to Surveillance chest and say, I understand you would like to deal with this diplomatically, to talk this out with these fine fellows, but this is my purview. This is conflict. This is strife. And we must deal with this suchly. And I stride forward into combat, and I would be. I'm fairly my exoskeleton ship is fairly armored. Has, if you wanted to give it a number, it would be 2.
Yes.
Which is fairly sturdy, and I would give them a moment to run like the cowards they are, as I raise the assault rifle and declare my intentions.
Nice.
But if they do start to open fire, I would have to deal with them.
I would like to see, and again, we're not going to drop wholly into a scene. We'll use this in a move that covers more than just that momentary reaction. It sounds like you're trying to use threats to bully some folks into doing what you want. Roll with volatile, and then we will see how they react.
I will. Oh, wait a second. I just check. I did try and put the full title in my name, but it did not fit.
Cuts it off. It's just too much.
And it was volatile. I haven't got a 0 in volatile because
That seems.
Well, I'm glad you put your trust in me. I feel it is well placed, and I think we can only prosper going forward with me in the leadership role.
Absolutely. And for that role, Alex, please mark an XP.
See,
for
everything
Julio.
is going well already.
XP on a miss. The bandits are fierce, and they scoff at your bravado. And just when things look their absolute worst, Halavar the Undaunted throws an Asgardian spear and strikes down a member of the bandits, and a huge fight begins. And he lets out his war cry, and you guys win the day. You defeat the bandits, but unfortunately a cost was paid, as your pilot, or I guess backup pilot, I don't know, Golden Mantio, was he like the backup pilot, the nephew of Prince Shaitan from the Microverse? I think I remember him being either pilot or backup pilot. Is that because Bug was the main pilot, right? But he was the backup pilot, I believe.
I think he's the backup pilot.
Yeah.
Golden Mantio.
Guardian.
Yeah, he falls. Yes, that's right. Julio thinks he says Guardian. He falls in the fray. It turns out, when you guys look upon the wound that did him in, someone stabbed him in the back. Literally. And poor Golden Mantio paid the price for a fight that didn't go as well as you had hoped. Sir Balin, what kind of funeral rites do you have on Lady Guinevere that you perform for Golden Mantio?
Oh, he's a prince from the microverse. Oh,
if you're a nephew of a prince, are you still a prince? Are you like a viscount? Are you
yeah, you're a viscount. Yeah. Viscount. Yeah. I'm not that familiar with the microverse. They are small people who are being made large at some point? What's the
So this is my understanding, is if we're in the MCU, the microverse is the same as the quantum realm.
Oh,
the quantum realm,
okay.
I haven't seen much associated with that, so it's just all sorts of crazy things, right? So just make something up, whatever you want.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we have to return him to the microverse, right? And so we lay some things with him and we seal him in this capsule. And instead of jettisoning him into space, he shrinks down very small and then just disappears in this blue flash.
Oh, that's sad and also kind of adorable. I love it.
Julio rests a little tiny bottle on the casket before it goes.
Oh, that's good.
But it's otherwise quiet.
Perfect. It is now your turn, Alex, aka Julio Bendex the Seventh. Please describe to us another event, perhaps in the second third of your travel, somewhere around there, abouts. And if you'd like for me to prompt you with a question, I am happy to do so.
You're muted.
I will take that prompt.
Excellent. Who from the royal court of the Inhumans did you meet along the way? And Alex, if you're like, oh my God, I don't even know who the Humans is, I can change it.
No, you can do it in humans. I might have to describe a character because
That's
I
fine.
brought my memory of all the names might not be. Mr. Hooves.
Mr. Hooves. Yeah.
He has a more official name.
He does, it turns out. But yes, so you're talking
Gorgon?
about
No.
I thought it was. Now I'm trying to trying to find the Inhumans.
Big hooves that can stamp like earthquakes.
Yes, it's like Triton or
Triton is the fish man.
Yes, you're right. Oh, Rich is bad at this too. Hold on. I'm gonna Marvel's Inhumans 2017.
He looks like a muscly man, but with hooves. With like the mantle legs. I can't remember if they're furry or not. I don't think he has any horns. But
all right. Humans. Dang, I'm very bad at this. Gorgon?
I think so.
Maybe it is. Triton is, yes. I think Triton is the fish guy.
Okay, actually.
Gordon.
Karnak.
Gorgon. Oh, sweet. I love Karnak. We all know who Karnak is. Yay.
He finds the weakness in everything, and I think actually might canonically not be inhuman. He just trained with some weird monks. Perfect. But who knows? We're getting in the weeds.
Yeah, I sent us into the weeds, and you're pulling us out. Thank you. Yeah. Karnak the Shatterer. Excellent. So you run into Karnak the Shatterer, one of the greatest hand-to-hand combatants the galaxy has ever seen. So what problem did you face? How did he impede your progress, Julio? Was he searching for something and demanded entry? Or did he simply bar your way because he was trying to protect something? What do you think? And then who dealt with it?
I think there was a barring of the way. I think there was the misconstrued, the heroes meeting. They'll have a fight. It was almost going to get to that. But I think Sir Balin, and I think Julio actually stepped aside to let Sir Balin and actually said he believes this was a diplomatic issue.
Ooh, and so how did Sir Balin
take up with that war?
How did Sir Balin solve the problem?
So once again, Greg displays his ignorance of the Marvel universe. Is Karnak himself like from Earth? Him being inhuman, but is he from Earth?
He is a human-based, but they travel around.
Gotcha. I think Sir Balin sees some markings on Sir Karnak's vestments. Right, he has this very strange sort of thing. But he recognizes the symbols as something Merlin once showed him. And displays to Sir Karnak that he too is a student of these mystical arts. And they weave a spell together, and Karnak is goes from being, barring our way and refusing to let us progress to understanding our mission and its importance. Does that work?
Nice.
Does that scan with Karnak as a character?
Yes, you did great. I love it. That is awesome. Great work. Good work. You did great. Greg, highly encourage you to continue forward. And now I will 100% tell you to continue forward, because the last third of your journey, or if you want, you can pass the baton to me and I will do the Space Master duty in a long journey of setting a scene during the journey, telling you how your crew or ship have made the journey harder. I'm happy to do that, unless you want to tell us about the last third.
No, I've got a great idea, I think, for the last third. So, if we're traipsing across between these multiple galaxies, the last third of our leg is actually kind of quiet and solemn and almost eventless for a very long period of time. And one of us starts poking around inside the computer to sort of fight this boredom. Bug, what song from Earth, maybe from the 70s, do you find that lifts the spirits of the Guardians Auxiliary in these final moments?
There is also a Zune library as well. So
a Zune library.
I think it's from the 90s.
Zune library. Perfect.
What Peter Quill song do you find?
It's Hooked on a Feeling.
Nice.
I had to real quickly go over to my YouTube background sounds that I have.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what just played? Hooked on a Feeling. That's one we'll know. I think I started playing over the, I think this is like an emergency files that I dig into, and I'm like, oh, whenever things get dangerous, you have to play this music, and I end up playing it on loop, and it plays on loop for a very
Ooga
Yeah.
ooga shaka ooga 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 shaka.
Ooga ooga.
And I think that different members of the team have different translations for what that language is and what it means.
That's great.
Some red-cheeked looks of shock. Yeah.
Amazing. That is so good. Cool. So you guys are listening to the music. You've been able to pass the time, and you know that you're nearly there. You guys have been traveling through slip space. I think it's Julio that your suit is the first to give warnings. Just as the slip space engines fail, and you guys hurtle out of slip space as there are a string of explosions, and the Lady Guinevere is tumbling out of slip space. You're not sure how close you got to Galador, but something happened, and you're in a bit of trouble. Bug, I think without a backup pilot, how have you been dealing with that? Have you been just working full shifts? Have you tried to train a backup? Because unfortunately, Golden Mantio is the best secondary pilot among you.
I think actually, yes. So I'm working double shifts, trying to make sure everything's good. It's the only reason I can stay up is because of the Hooked on a Feeling song, gets stuck and it keeps me pushing. But I think I've also started to train Halavar as a backup pilot. So I don't think he'll be able to land the ship or anything, but he's not going to blow it up first.
Oh man.
So
He runs on
yeah.
into the cockpit. Ramming speed. Not at all useful in this moment.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, so you are tired, and I think I'm going to just arbitrarily, as a mean space master, say that you need to roll with disadvantage. Now, you could have someone allow them to lean on you, but I'd like to see you act quick. Otherwise, the ship is going to take some damage here because of this series of explosions being flung out of slip space, which is totally not light speed because this is Marvel. One fail already on. Yes.
Yep. Does anyone have a way that they could potentially help via lean on me? Otherwise, I'm going to roll. My slick is a +2. So
Now I've framed up, all I've framed up at this point is Bug is piloting and Julio got a little bit of an early warning from his suit. You can frame yourselves wherever you want in the scene if you want to try to help. Or not.
Would being a Julio yelling over the comms at you, Bug, to not destroy his ship help in any way? Would that motivate you?
yeah, potentially. It depends on
I
how the
guess you
dice
should
work, right?
roll with Stalwart and we will see if it's
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
Perhaps
I
it
think my
provides an
stalwart
early
is pretty
warning.
high. I think that's my best. Yeah, it's 2. Bug, I trust you are not going to destroy my ship. 11.
Wow. Wow, you're very good at yelling at people. So
I
on a
do it
10 plus,
lot.
you're helpful and supportive. You get to choose 2 options. You can give advantage. Your support can bring some relief and clear 1 stress. I should have given you guys stress. Dadgum. All right, everybody take 2 stress. Boom. There you go. Done. And then the third one is you aren't pushed to your limits or exposed to danger or complication for your efforts.
Well, I'm going to give advantage, and also I'm going to trigger a calamity.
Oh, really? That
I'll
pushed
get back
you
to
over?
you. Yeah.
Amazing. You're triggering a calamity. Oh, you get a second choice though. Triggering a calamity just happens, but I am curious. Do you want to be pushed to your not being pushed to your limits, or do you want to allow Bug to clear his stress?
So, I get a second option?
Yes, you rolled the 10 plus, so you get 2
Oh,
options.
okay. Yeah. I'll then clear a stress.
Bug gets to
I
clear
feel
his
like
stress.
I'm just like taking your mind slightly off the danger by introducing the Julio being annoying, and it kind of lets
it's
you
something
kind
to
of
focus
on something else. Ish.
Okay.
Okay.
So, do we want to resolve the calamity first?
I think we should probably do the crashing thing first.
Okay.
Not that we're going to crash. I trust you, Bug.
Well,
Don't blow
dice
it.
rolls are dice rolls. Here we go.
Yeah. You got advantage, or
I got a
not
5.
disadvantage.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
This is great.
And that is,
Amazing.
I want to make sure I did that right. I was at disadvantage. The
Mhm.
advantage brought me up to normal. I rolled 2d6, and I got
2.
5.
Yep.
Got it. Perfect.
Yep. You roll a 3 and a 2 and a 1 for a total of 3. Added in your amazing, amazing stats, which did not bring you to success. And that is a fail. Please mark XP. So Julio Bendex the 7th, let's hear about your calamity before I make a Space Master move. Maybe I'll just say the Space Master move is that this happens.
I feel like it would be a bad choice, but at the same time, I feel really drawn to your Great War comes to the local sector.
Oh God, yes. So tell us a little bit about your Great War. You've been in so many. So which of the Great Wars is the
I
one that's
mean,
present?
I've mainly been in one Great War that's just gone on for years,
Oh, the
decades,
the
against
Brood.
the
The
Brood,
Brood. Yes, the Brood.
a vast xenomorph or Zerg or such alien species that infests people and then takes their powers. I think I can't
Hmm.
remember. They do things.
The Brood are
Um,
insectoid beings who travel through space to find hosts to infest with their spawn.
and this would be a really bad time for that to
Is
turn
the
up. And
perfect time for
so,
this.
yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, you guys hurtle through space. Bug, you grab onto the controls and try your very best to direct the ship away from an asteroid field, but then another engine goes off, like explodes, and that sends you hurtling. You guys slam into an asteroid, um, and then the engines grow quiet. I am curious, Sir Balin, what where are you when all of this takes place? When this
Oh, I'm in the
Yeah.
engine room as these engines are being hit with asteroid dust and jamming up and chugging and blowing out steam, and run over, grab the intercom. What is going on? Bug, where have you taken us? Wait, hold on. Is this because you're the hell of our drive?
I'm just getting control now. The engines are gone. Something's happened. We need to figure out, help.
Sweet. That's when warning klaxons go on, and we see on your like vid display Bug that there are several. There's a large uh, blip on the sonar radar, and then you see dozens of smaller little blips coming out from it. And Julio, you called over the intercoms. Maybe you're near some kind of viewport, and you see these golden bullets that are headed directly towards the Lady Guinevere. And you know what these bullets are. They are, um, they're oh shoot, I can't remember the like Halo term. The thing, basically,
Like,
it's like small unit delivery vehicles. And
like that crashes into the site, drop
drop
body.
pod.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
a drop pod, except it actually is made to just
Hmm.
drill its way into a ship and deliver brood. Um, and that is a huge brood warship that has clocked out of slip space. Um,
Bug,
let's
oh,
yes, no,
Bug,
go.
get the ship moving now. It's Brood. And
Yeah, I was just planning on sitting here for a little while and just tumbling in space.
that
Yeah.
would be foolhardy maneuver. And I run to the airlock so I want to try and uh, I want to try and be on the outside of the ship to deal with this pod, or at least
That sounds amazing. And yes, you do that. Uh, you will head out, and I'm trying to grab a couple of pictures of brood to share with folks so that those who may not know as much. Here's a nice picture of some brood. I like this pic. I think that's Kitty actually in the middle. Oh God, it's pregnant Kitty. Yeah, I vaguely remember the storyline. So this is what the brood look like. Hashtag not aliens, but kind of sort of yes, actually aliens. Aliens like, aliens. Here's another picture of a brood. They are They are horrific and terrifying.
Captain Marvel when she had a different costume.
Mm-hmm. More pics of the brood. They have different kinds of brood. Some of them can fly. Yes, they are. They're terrifying and terrible. Hee hee hee. Sweet. So one of the drop pods is coming your way, Julio. Would you make it out into space? What do you want to do here? What's your plan?
I want to stop this thing. I want to make this thing just go off, fly past the ship.
Okay, just to set it, like in what I had described, just so we're on the same page. Brood warship came out of slip space, immediately delivered a dozen or so drop pods that are now flying through space towards Lady Guinevere. So with that in mind, what is Julio's plan for defense? Because you are a sitting duck. By you, I mean the Lady Guinevere. I think you're okay.
I think I know it will be I will go down to my moves and look at my heavy arsenal. I want to basically slash in half these drop pods as they approach with the Broodbane, the nano whip of extendable length.
That sounds amazing. Let us see how your heavy arsenal goes. So you have a unique, very destructive heavy weapon that deals 3 harm with limited ammo. You've just named it. It's called, what is it? I don't want to steal your thunder. What is it called?
It is named Broodbane.
Delightful.
The Bane of the Brood.
Yes. Oh man, I think we see a few of the smaller brood, and the bullet is spinning, and they're able to see. Oh, Broodbane. They whisper between each other in their odd language, their chittering language. Let's see. So when you fire your heavy weapon, reduce its ammo by 1, and in addition to any harm or other effects that you select, choose one of the following. An object or area is destroyed, someone has to take you seriously and will back off or escalate, or a system or device is shut down or damaged.
I'm thinking someone has to take you seriously and will back off or escalate.
Nice. Yeah, and I think it only makes sense that the mothership, as it were, would be the object of having to take you seriously or back off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And if I can describe, I think the whip kind of curls around one of these like bullet-shaped things and then like pulls it off course before slicing right through and sending them spiraling off into space. And then it kind of retracts back into the little handle of the whip.
Nice.
Like going up, half a kilometer out. I don't know.
Love it. Cool. So you take out a few of the drop pods, but there are still others that slip past the spread of Broodbane. And the ship itself, the mothership, does need to make a decision. Does it back off or escalate? And I think its decision is to escalate. As you see, broadsides open, and a dozen more of these drop pods are fired out, and there are tactical weapons that are currently being aimed at you, Julio Bandex the Seventh. And I think you hear over the comms, Julio, they are chanting your name with respect, because they're going to destroy you. Sir Balin, you are in the engine room, and what you were yelling? What happened? You're trying to figure out what's going on. And you see the first engine that went down that took you out of space. As you're looking around, what is it that tells you this was not an external attack that destroyed this engine?
Oh, it's there's a number of tools strewn about near it that are not tools you would use to repair an engine. They are like demolition tools.
Hmm. Well, that is what you see. What do you wish to do?
Um, I draw the sword and I quickly look around for who is in the engine room with me. Is there anyone else?
Oh yeah,
I hear
there are
the steam and the jets.
steam and jets. I think you're trying to scope it out.
I think I am. What is that with?
Your old plus calculating,
Calculating. I'm great
which
at
for you
calculating.
is you're quite a calculating fellow with a 0.
Rolling flat. Going for XP. Here we go. Hey, that's a
You
success.
failed to get XP in that you rolled a 10. So your investigation pays off. You get to ask 3 questions.
Oh, the obvious one, I think here, but I have to, for the sake, to truly know who or what here is not what they seem.
Nice. Well, let me first ask a question. Because way back
Sure.
on our first session, I had said each of you would need to come up with a crew member, and I'd like to have a face for the engine room, our Scotty, as it were. And I think Halavar was a creation that Greg came up with, and Stephen had created our now dead Viscount Golden Mantio. So, Alex, if you could. Tell us a little bit about the head of engineering here in the Lady Guinevere.
Oh. um, they are Skrull.
Ooh,
We all know they're Skrull, but they do not admit that they're Skrull. They say they're an Earther. From the
so
states that united. They're totally an Earther from the states that united. They're definitely good guys. They're just, but that's what they say.
that's great. And I now Googled to try to grab some names. How does Morat sound as the name for this individual?
I think it's out. I think their name is actually maybe more American sounding, but kind of off.
Ooh, interesting. It turns out that there's a character named John the Scroll. That is so weird. I don't know what that is. But anyway, American sounding
John,
Jean? Ooh, that
John, just like John, but dropping out the H and adding an L.
Joan. That's great.
John Smith.
There we go.
Instead of the I, 2 E's on Smith. There we go.
Great. Joan Sneed is here, Sir Balin. But the question that you had asked is who or what here? No,
It's
what was
not
it?
what they see.
Yeah, who are here is not what they seem. I think first you catch a flicker of Joan in their scroll guise. But then you also see Edgar like sliding up from behind Joan. Edgar does not seem to be aware that you are there. And you also see Edgar has your dagger. You've got other questions you can ask.
Yeah. Who or what here could be a useful opportunity?
Well, Joel is a a decent enough combatant / someone to get in another person's way. But also, the smoke is an excellent opportunity for a vampiric knight like yourself. You could hide yourself and get where you need to be in the engine room.
What should I be on the lookout for?
Whoever, because you've heard over the comms the Julio and whoever did this disabled your ship for the brood. So you should be on the lookout for further complications of that plot.
I will make my way through the mists, and if I'm not focusing too carefully, it's almost like the woods back home, as all the steam is gathering around, and it's actually getting very quiet in the engine room because the engine's hum has stopped, right? But there's all of the steam and I'm gonna try to maneuver myself closer to Edgar, and sort of hopefully, hopefully Joan will, pick up that there might be somebody behind him.
Nice. So you're in an advantageous position here, and you could, if you wanted to, take an alpha strike, but that means that you'd have to attack with only based on information, not on actual,
Right.
Betrayal.
So, am I seeing Edgar raising the dagger up, about to stab Joan? Okay. It's not exactly an alpha strike. I don't know if I guess maybe I'm acting quick, but we'll resolve that.
Yeah, there are other moves you can engage.
Yeah. Sir Balin steps out and thrusts the sword right underneath the dagger to stop the blade.
Oh, you're trying to
Edgar,
block
what are you
him.
doing?
Oh,
Yes.
that's amazing. That's amazing. That sounds so cool. I think you're trying to hold a position or halt in advance. So let's have you engage firefight.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That's volatile, right?
It is, and you got a 1 in volatile.
All right, here we go. That's not XP, that's boxcars.
What? Okay, on a 10 plus, you'll exchange harm, but from the situation, there is no harm coming to you. You get to choose 3 options.
Yeah, I will definitely, I hold the position that the sword stops the dagger.
Oh, that's awesome. Cling.
And I think it cuts Edgar's hand, right? There, that's the harm.
Sure. Yeah.
So I begin to advance out, and Edgar, what are you doing? Why are you trying to stab Joan? And I'm forcing him back into like a cornered position here in the engine room. Yeah, I'm trying to. I'll use my another option to impress, dismay, or frighten my enemy. The other one was to force my enemy out of to make it advance. Yeah, force my enemy out of cover. So I'm pushing him in and waving my sword around. What are you doing? Like he moves towards me, and I slice the air right in front of him, so he can't move that way. I'm just like,
nice. You cut off all
cutting off
egress.
the exits. Yeah,
He's impressed and surprised. You cut his hand. I think the dagger lays between the two of you as he backs up against one of the cooling engines, and says, "He was a Skrull. He's a Skrull. He sabotaged all of
we
this."
know he's a Skrull. It's obvious.
No, I'm from the United No.
Joan, we all know.
But he just did this. Look at all of the equipment. He sabotaged us. He called the brood. It's so obvious. Help me. I was trying to save the ship.
The Edgar I know would not strike a man simply for this. He would hold him to account.
Really? Really? Awesome.
The Edgar Sir Balin thinks he is.
Exactly. The Edgar that he thinks he is exactly that thing that you've described, because it only exists in Balin's head. Let's cut to Bug. Engines are down. They are offline. You heard from Julio that the brood are attacking. What is it that Bug is doing?
So I think Bug is frantic in the bridge trying to repair what he can, and he's shoving things together. And I think I'm going to use a new move.
Ooh, I like new moves.
And tell me if this is out of bounds.
Okay.
Right? So the new move is Lethal Strike. When you have your targets in your sights and they can't do anything to stop you, discharge the move and describe how you end their existence or incapacitate them.
Ooh.
So
who's the target?
The brood ship that dropped out and is attacking us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think narratively, I'm going to describe what I think this, looks like on screen, and then you can tell me if this is too much, and we'll roll it back and we'll aim it somewhere else.
Okay.
Basically, I think what this is that, Bug is frantically trying to repair the engines, and he's jamming things together, trying to get them back going, overload, power and stuff. And as he turns around, there's like a box hanging from wires. And we have a flashback whenever the Guinevere was being repaired back in Nowhere. And Rocket is like, okay, I installed this thing. This is a last ditch effort kind of problem with the dire race. If they attack you, and you're stuck like you were with the Shi'ar, then, this might get you out of the crapper. And it's like his big missile launcher thing that I think he had in the first movie.
Okay.
I punch the button, that thing pops up, and it targets and fires. And we see this missile thing come out.
That sounds awesome. I love this.
Fantastic.
Cool.
So I'm going to discharge that move, and that's it.
In their existence or wow. So you just that's amazing.
So we see this rocket, space. We see this rocket raccoon space, cobbled together thing go through. If I remember the first movie, it makes this big, boom kind of thing, destroys that whole area. And I think this is targeting like the capital ship that came out, trying to destroy like their engines or their bridge or something like that.
Yeah, it does that. It decimates the bridge. You see a series of explosions along the carapace. I'm imagining that the brood ship looks a little bit like those weird undulating ships at the end of Avengers, the Chitauri ships. A little bit like that, just so we have a visual reference that we're all familiar with, and also we can reuse stock footage to save a few bucks here. So yeah, that happens. Like the mothership is incapacitated and in the process of belly up being destroyed. Let's slice back out to Julio Bandex heroically standing on the hull of Lady Guinevere, fighting against brood, like the brood in their drop pods. I'm curious, what does that look like, Julio?
Well, I don't think I could have stopped all of them, so I think
No,
there must be
there's
some
more to stop.
slammed into the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But I am a foot against one, blasting my assault rifle through the weird gloopy window of a drop pod.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to lay waste to these things before they can get in.
That sounds.
Using everything at my disposal, I think I would be.
Would you
not too
spend
sure.
another ammo on your
Yeah,
heavy
yeah,
arsenal?
yeah.
She's called Broodbane. It totally makes sense here.
I'm grabbing another drop pod, slamming it into sideways into another incoming drop pod.
Nice. So we see the shell of the first one like floating in space, and it shows a reflection of Julio Bandex, and we're hearing the song, of course, because the money we saved was reusing. Yeah, we hear it. We hear it again. Ooga chaka, ooga 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 chaka. You slam in the new shell.
Curse you to 1,000 hells.
Nice.
This is, you don't know if this is directed at the brood or the song. And I want to be sharing over the comms. Do not engage them in hand-to-hand combat. Don't let them close.
Nice.
I think I'm sharing expertise.
Yeah. Sharing expertise sounds amazing. So when you share expertise, when you consult your accumulated knowledge on something you're an expert in, roll with calculating.
Which
Your calculating, if I remember correctly, is amazing. At a
yes.
-1. You are very calculating. I cannot wait to see how this goes.
Oh. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, well, thank you so much. Let me just show this. Yes, everyone who's watching, that is a 6. That is a miss. Please mark XP. Julio, here's what happens. You share your expertise. You're not wrong. You see Bug fire this crazy rocket, and the mothership of the Brood capital ship class is starting to explode, and you're defending the Lady Guinevere, but then you see from the bridge this small ship fly away from not your bridge, the Lady Guinevere, but from this Brood mothership that you can tell from its markings. That's an escape pod for the Queen. You've got an opportunity. You could go and destroy a Brood Queen, but you'd have to abandon your post defending the Lady Guinevere. What do you do?
The lives of the few against billions. Not today. And I jump into space.
Oh, I love it. That is the time where we will take our mid-game five break as Julio abandons his post as commander of the battle to fight some forever foes. So that's great.
Yeah.
Good choice. Like, yeah, we're not that surprised.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. We are back, and the brief recap is Sir Balin has confronted Edgar. Bug has just fired off a godlike weapon that he and Rocket Raccoon had cooked up together, and Julio Bandex the 7th, the official leader for conflict and strife, has abandoned the Lady Guinevere for the idea of saving billions, going after the queen, the Brood Queen that is trying to escape the capital ship that you have just wounded terribly. Bug, after you fire onto the Brood mothership, and you also see that escape pod, small ship escape. Stop using the word escape. The small ship leave that seems like it's coming from the bridge area, and Julio Bendex the Seventh taking off in his spaceship, which is, you know, his walking around suit after it. And also, Bug, you know, there are more brood that have come onto the ship because the drop pods were still fired. You hear the sounds of combat within Lady Guinevere. What do you wish to do?
So I described trying to repair the engines because we've got to get out of here. We can't take on an army by ourselves. Maybe, well, maybe Julio can, but you know, the rest of us need to get out of here. And I was looking. There's a move for repairs, and I haven't quite figured everything out, but I think that's what I want to do is try and repair the engines.
Okay.
It's under the ship.
It
thing.
is spot repairs. When you, I don't know why that's pluralized, but I'll take out that S. When you perform spot repairs on your ship to patch over damage, describe how you do it. If there are no immediate pressures and you have plenty of time, you do it with little complication. Guess what? That is not the case here. If you're under immediate danger or time is limited, roll keep your cool to complete the repairs unless you have a move better suited to the job. Check the spot repairs option for the damage you're repairing. And, oh, yeah, I think your ship at this point is, what is SR? Can't remember. It's fine. You guys
Ship
have
rating?
taken it. Yeah. Ship rating. Sure. Still feels like something. It's fine.
Okay.
So you guys have taken a direct hit at this point. Smoke and sparks pour from flickering. And you have a hull breach. You're all the way up to hull breach here. There we go. I actually did not describe your, like, not all systems are down. So I think your hull breach, atmosphere vents, section of the ship depressurized, and the SM will tell you which sections. There we go. So you need to engage, keep your cool, attempting to keep cool under pressure and during hardship. So you're ignoring participating in the fight so that you can get this ship operational again. Heroic. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, so I'm going to roll the keep under cool first. Keep your cool first and see how that goes. And I'm flat. And I squeaked by with a 7.
Delightful. Okay. On keep your cool on a 7 to 9, you do it. Choose one. You have disadvantage going forward, suffer 1 stress, or you give up something, leave something behind, or take something with you. The Space Master will say what?
Is that 2 choices or 3?
You have to make one choice on a 7 to 9. You do it, but you choose one.
Right, but I mean, is it you have disadvantage going forward and you suffer 1 stress is 1 choice?
No.
Okay.
It's actually under the action moves. Disadvantage is 1 choice. Suffering a stress is the 2nd choice, and then the 3rd one is the SM tells you. SM's Space Master tells you if you give up something, leave something behind, or have to take something with you.
Okay, so the most interesting thing is the last one, which is give up something, leave something behind, or take something with you. So I'll let you come up with what that
Ooh,
is.
yes. So here is my thought. I think that in your haste of rushing from the cockpit to work on repairing, what were you specifically trying? Engines, right? Sublight
Engines,
or
yeah.
slip space?
Sublight.
Okay.
In order to avoid the incoming attacks.
You leave behind your tactical cloak.
Ooh,
Maybe
okay.
it's like ripped away from you at some point during the combat. A brood yanks it. It's not gone forever, but it's not in your possession now.
I basically I used it to gain access to an area of the ship and had to leave it there.
Love
Perfect.
it. Cool. Cool. So you are able to make some spot repairs.
And I didn't get what that means. I didn't get far enough. So when your hull breach.
Yeah, you're currently a hull breach. So when you perform spot repairs on a hull breach, you restore atmosphere to the vented sections, but you're dangerously low on life support. Any rolls that require physical exertion are at disadvantage.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you guys You are able to repair most of the hull, but that's going to take some time. You're dedicated to doing it, and that's what's going on. Let's cut to Sir Balin. As Edgar has said why he attacked or was going to attack, failed to actually harm Joel Smith. What do you do? Oh, we can't hear you, Greg.
Oh, sorry. No, I wasn't saying anything yet. What? Why, Edgar?
What do you mean, why? I'm doing what I always do, trying to save the ship the only way I know how.
But you could be so much more.
Can I now? Why don't you come with me and show me how I could be more? Joel says, I need to get to work on repairs, and I'm coordinating with Bug.
Why would he want to repair if he was the one who sabotaged?
He's just covering his tracks. Do you want to? I mean, are you staring into the abyss?
Yeah.
It feels like you kind of are.
Yeah.
It's always good.
Eyes start to go red with anger, and I will stare into the abyss with alien.
Roll.
That's 9.
Oh, it's a 9. I love the 9 on this. All right.
Oh.
So into the abyss, roll with alien on a 7 to 9. You can ask. You are shown dark visions that lend you insight. Ask the abyss one question, and the abyss will answer. The space master will ask you one question from the abyss. Stares back.
Oh no, I got a 7 to 9. You asked me 2.
Oh, that's right. 7 to 9. Yes, and we'll ask 2. Thank you.
Has Edgar truly betrayed us?
Oh, yes. Edgar has truly betrayed you and shall betray you again. He's trying to lure you away so that he can replace you.
Oh dear.
With his shape-shifting powers because he is a dire wraith. And now I will get to ask you 2 questions from the abyss stares back. Let's see. What was our previous question? Do you remember? Oh, did I ask for what does your character's darkest heart desire?
You asked me. No. What faint hope does your character cling to?
Oh, yes. So what is your darkest heart desire?
Oh. There's a flash of it. And it's Sir Balin at the head table of a very, Marvel-esque but round table. And the seats are filled with superheroes, and he is the king. He is Arthur.
Ooh. Yes. And then let me ask a second question from this list. What was your character's lowest moment?
Has to be when I became a vampire, right? It's a pretty low moment. It's hard to figure out, on screen what that looks like, but it's
I
It's
want
a
to know
push. Yeah.
who embraced or brought across, or who made Sir Balin? Was it another knight? Was it the Lady of the Lake? Was it some monster that overpowered him in a moment of weakness? Or
Yeah, it was a monster who overpowered him in a moment of weakness. But it was under the guise of a distressed maiden. Um, and he fell. It was darkness for many, many years.
Edgar leans close. Joel has moved away and is trying to take care of the engines. Edgar leans close and says, Sir Balin, we both know what I really am. But what you don't know is that the dire wraiths possess powerful magic. If you would but aid me, I will cure you of your vampirism. Think hard. One moment of letting this discovery pass. You will never rise above the others for as long as you wear this curse. But humanity restored, you could be king among your peers. I could help you. The Space Knights will only ruin everything, as they always have done.
But the poor people upon this ship. There are so many who are helpless.
You needn't worry about them. They will be replaced by Brood.
Oh. 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 Sabela like grabs his face because it's close, right? You are not the page I thought you were. You are not the knight I thought you could be.
That
And
Edgar is no more.
at that, yes, I fear he is. And then I will slice him in the gut with the sword.
Oh, you slice the dire wraith in the gut, and as you do, he falls to the ground. His body starts to shift and warp into the form of the dire wraith that held the guise of your former friend. And you see the flickers of power being restored to the ship. Julio Bandex VII, leaving your compatriots behind to fight for the greater glory. I think you need to act quick to be able to catch. So, slick, not calculating, luckily for you. Oh, I think you're talking on mute, Alex.
So Alex, do you want me to help?
Hmm. I'm kind of mulling over either. Do I need to look into the abyss and see? I thought of this before the abyss staring started.
Oh,
But
there's no such thing as spamming that move. I love it.
Because I mean, Julio might seem like a simple fellow, but even he will occasionally self-reflect. Is he doing the right thing? I think I'm looking into the abyss too.
Seeking answers, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, please roll plus alien. Your alien's a
9.
2. Oh, sorry, that's Balin. Your alien's a 1.
So
Hey,
1.
that's a 9. That's perfect. It's the best of all results. So on a 7 to 9, you get to ask, and the abyss will answer, but is hungry, the space master. That's me. We'll ask 2 questions from the abyss stares back. So what question do you ask?
Is this for the greater good or for my own wounded soul?
The glory you could win from facing this queen mother, this brood queen, would last you for your days. But those who would sing your praises would not be the members of Lady Guinevere. For those who survive and are not replaced by the brood currently invading will only remember your name with scorn for abandoning them.
I feel I got a couple of questions coming my way.
You do. I'm pausing dramatically because I'm so excited. What terrifies Julio to his core?
The waves. Seeing his compatriots in the waves of war against the brood, falling just every day. Just seeing when he looks to his left and right in battle, seeing less people he recognizes and knows. And yeah, just that endless loss of war.
What faint hope does Julio Bandex VII cling to?
The knowledge that not just him, but his race are like a fortress against this threat. Countless galaxies do not have to feel the horrors of the brood because of their sacrifice. It was that what they do is worthwhile.
Now you have the knowledge that you could win a great glory, but the lips that will sing your praises will not be the crew of the Lady Guinevere. Julio, what do you do?
There's a moment I'm in space in the void between the two sources, the two. I look between them. I turn back.
Turn back.
I turn back to the Lady Guinevere.
Turn back, leaving the brood queen to her escape, hearing it's Guardians of the Galaxy, so you can still hear the explosions, even though it's space. We've all accepted this. The explosions of the mothership as it has been destroyed. You see the brood teeming through the Lady Guinevere. You gird up your loins
Hmm.
and move your ship forward. And as you see the pitted battles, there's to your left, like towards the fore of the ship, you see a sudden bright light. And then coming through some kind of fissure in space, not unlike the slip drive itself, those hexagons that we see when the Guardians travel to different places. And there are a half dozen people in mech suits, various colors, flying towards the Lady Guinevere. What do you do, Julio?
I send out a message on like a hailing frequency. The ship is under brood attack. We need your assistance.
Nice. So you call out for assistance, and there's a moment and then a connection through the communists, and you hear, "This is Space Knight Starshine replying to your call." And then they come flying across the bow of the Lady Guinevere, and you can lead them in. Julio, you've got a moment to assume the mantle of bringing aid to help to save the people of Lady Guinevere. What does that look like?
We swarm in through one of those fissures in the sides of the ship. I don't think Julio attacks with much bravado. He knows he's done he knows he's done wrong in choosing to flee. Well, not flee. Definitely not flee. But
Not flee. Let's banish that word from your vocabulary.
Yeah. He chose the wrong battle, abandoned his compatriots, and did them great wrong. So, if you could see his face through the little visor, and it would be a stern. There would not be a bottle by his side. It is a methodical sweep through the ship, hunting out brood, putting them down.
Nice. Bug, you are busy repairing the ship. Tell us, when one of the Space Knights comes to help you against a few of the brood, who ends up saving the life of whom?
So go back to I think who ends up saving both the Space Knight and me is Joan Smith. We are the two of us are, the Space Knight and I are both pinned down with several brood attacking us. And we see Joan Smith kind of come out from around a corner in human guise and fire a little blaster pistol or throw like a techno wrench at them or something. And they kind of, knock him aside, just splat him aside. And that's whenever he abandons his guise as a human from Earth. And, changes into a strange, large, hulking kind of being that just stomps through them and gives us the upper hand. The surprise of being attacked from both sides gives us the upper hand against the brood, and we're able to knock them out in this area, clear them
Nice.
out in this area.
Amazing.
And by the way, we never talk about Joel Smith and that transformation again. We're like, we're very fortunate that weird alien was able to come and help us. Yeah.
So good. Oh, that's so good. Amazing. Sir Balin, there is a moment when a cadre of the brood, realizing that their fellows have all been weakened, that they launch a desperate plot, a suicidal plot to destroy the Lady Guinevere in a futile attempt that the memories of this victory will be carried on to other members of the brood. You and another space knight are able to thwart them. Who brings the victory and how? And we'll say, so you have a name to, we'll say that it is Dwaylen, the Terminator, in his sleek black space knight armor.
It is Sir Dwaylen who lands the final blow. But Sir Balin is the one who is the savior of the crew members who we are defending, right? He goes on to fight the rest of the brood, but Sir Balin holds back and defends a locked little bunkhouse where we have kept some of the crew members to keep them safe from the brood.
Nice. Nice. The Lady Guinevere does not fall, and working together with the Space Knights, your crew are able to defeat the brood this day. Bug, you're the first to make sure that the ship has been repaired. So what is it that you do? How do you declare the victory and bring hostilities to a close?
I think we've actually spaced the last of the brood, repaired the hull, and I think this is when the negotiations with the Galadorians occur. We turn to them and we say, "We are in your." I turn to them and I say, "We are in your debt. This attack upon us was unexpected. Although we should have anticipated it, considering that there is a war going on out there. Your assistants gave us the upper hand from their treachery. We were traveling, and so, and I think I introduce this. I say, I am Bug from the Guardians of the Galaxy. We traveled a long way to meet with a group of people from Galador. I think we actually, in the last episode, we had images from some of these people. Rocket introduced some of them. So
yes, he gave you a few names.
So I think that we have heard of you, and we indicate, we are here to open negotiations or to open open treaties, because I think that one of your enemies, legacy enemies, has become an enemy in our area of space as well. And we would like your assistance and defeating them.
The Space Knight who introduced herself as Starshine, Space Knight Starshine, which I've got a pretty cool pic of Starshine that I'll share with you. Just a second. I got like 10 versions of it, so I'll do the one that I had up on my paint program. So Starshine here in golden armor with this cool jetpack. She removes her helmet and appears to be a young woman. And she says, "My people's enemy. Do you speak of the dire wraiths?"
We found another. Yes, we found a number of them who had attacked in our area of space, and I am specifically concerned that they have infiltrated the Guardians themselves, and this group and the ship were entrusted to come find you so that we could. Our leader, Rocket, had suggested you may have a method of finding them. We have very limited means, and they are so good at hiding.
Your fears were not unfounded, Bug. Edgar has fallen. The Edgar who has been with us this whole journey. And Sir Balin is like dragging, I don't know, remains of the dire wraith up. Or
And-
it was Edgar. No, this dire wraith who has sabotaged us.
And turned us over to the Brood? That,
Indeed.
from what Julio has said, if the Brood and the dire wraiths have combined forces, we are in much more dire straits than anyone had ever considered. Julio, I suggest that if your war with the Brood has been at a ongoing and practically a standstill for as long as you said, the dire wraiths might tip that balance.
This is a dark day for the universe.
So, with the current situation, Bug, it sounds as if you are using promises to convince Space Knight Starshine and her squad to ally with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I think that you are trying to manipulate them with stories of your plight.
Okay. Yes, I have a move called the setup, and I wanted to see if it applied as well. It does not. That is a covert incursion. This is a direct
Dang it.
ambassador thing. No,
I'm
that's fine.
sorry. We didn't get to use much of your cool infiltrator stuff. That feels...
no, I think we did. I think we hit most of it except for the thief stealing stuff, but I think that's fine. But no, I just wanted to make sure it didn't apply. So that is let me roll that.
Hold on. Do you want to roll it, or is anyone trying to? It sounds like everybody has provided evidence, so either one, Sir Balin or Julio, could roll lead on me to try to give you advantage here, possibly.
I mean, I could big up the Brood side of the threat.
Are you okay with that, Greg? Letting?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, cool. Please roll plus stalwart, which is your thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a 10. I see. You're helpful and supportive. Choose two. You can give advantage. You can not be exposed to danger or complication, or you can bring some relief to Bug and allow him to remove one stress.
You
get two.
I will the advantage definitely, and the not be exposed.
Good.
And I think that the way that looks on screen is Bug, whenever he introduces Julio, he says, our battle commander Julio Bandex the Seventh has been fighting the Brood, and his people has been fighting the Brood for so long, and without his valiance during this attack, we the ship wouldn't have survived long enough for you to arrive and help save us.
Awesome. And there's a pause, and then the space knight known as Firefall says, "We have heard of the valor of the TBDs."
I totally forgot the name.
Rich remembered. Cool. Go ahead and roll plus roll with advantage, and you'll be rolling with slick, which is a 2 for you. Good luck.
Okay. 8 plus 2 is 10.
It is indeed. So on a 10 plus, they have to choose one, force you to follow through and suck it up, or that's intimidate. How about I read the other one? They choose one off, accept your offer at face value and agree to the challenge, or ask you to promise something and will do what you want if they, and will do what you want if they agree. Starshine says, I will need to speak with our matriarch, but I assure you, we will do whatever we can to help you in this fight against the dire race, because your fight is our fight. We have all taken an oath to serve the good of our liege and freehold, faithfully and with honor.
With this, I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
Oh, there's just one little
Sir
bit.
Balin is moved and crosses the sword to his chest.
And she looks and regards everyone in the crew, tired. She says, we have all given this oath in the court of Rom, lest death claim us. And may our fellows shun us if we prove false. And she accepts your claim at as it is, at face value, and will accept the exchange. And now, with our remaining time, I think I would like to just make space for either some like pocket scenes or epilogues here, because this has been a pretty epic adventure. You guys successfully secured the aid of the Space Knights, traveled all the way to Galador, and you have the potential of returning home to face the threat of the Brood and the Dire Wraiths as they come against the forces of Nowhere and other people within the galaxy. So before we move directly to epilogues, does anyone have any follow-on scenes they wanted to have?
I would like to have a scene with basically Bug and Sir Balin as soon as the Space Knights are no longer in the room or on the ship or something.
Yeah,
this just does.
That sounds good.
Before the Space Knights leave, I want to have a scene. I just want to introduce Sir Balin, the Knight of Earth, to the Space Knights, and see how that interaction goes.
Oh, yes.
And basically, since I stepped forward and I thanked them, I just want to make introductions and say, and I say some of the valorous acts that Sir Balin has gone through, that I've seen, in order to introduce him to the Space Knights, because they seem to like that flowery kind of language.
They do. Like, they've all removed their helmets as a sign of respect, and they're standing there, a kind of military stance, the entire squad, listening to you list out the accomplishments of Sir Balin. And does Sir Balin keep his helmet on to hide his vampirism, or does he?
No. Sir Balin removes his helmet.
I think a couple of the Space Knights are like a little taken aback.
Yes. I have had many achievements because I have lived a long time, but I have never strayed from my vow to protect the innocent. Which, some people might argue with. But
cool. Then Space Knight Starshine is the first to shift her helmet from her right arm to her left so she can step forward and offer you a hand.
I think that's the sealing of the deal, right? As Sir Balin,
Mm-hmm.
yep, shakes her hand, and yeah, we are eternally grateful, and we will endeavor to slay many more of both the brood and the dire wraiths together.
Nice. Agreed. It is an honor to meet you, Sir Balin.
The honor is all mine.
Cool. I discovered this in doing a little bit of Space Knight ROM research. The rumored name of Space Knight ROM, Artur. Just a little like there's some definite Excalibur stuff going on.
Oh, for sure.
And I also like the name Artur a bunch.
That is a one of my brood.
It's right. Artur. Indeed. Cool. Any other scenes before we slide into some epilogues?
Yes. I think as we're gonna maybe, I've said goodbye for now to the Space Knights,
Mhm.
and we kind of leaving out of into a corridor, into a room or something. Julio Bandix the Seventh is at the front of, and he suddenly just turns around to face the other two, goes down on one knee, holds out Broodbane, and says, I did not say anything when you vouchsafed my bravery in battle. I did not want to. I'm not a master at diplomacy. I did not want to venture out of into things I'd know nothing of. But I abandoned you. I abandoned the ship. I sought glory at the expense of those I should have been protecting.
Sir Balin looks at Bug. Ugh.
I am not worthy of Broodbane, and I hold it out to either of you to take.
I think Bug reaches out and takes Broodbane, kind of turns it over in his hands, and then hands it back to Julio. Turns and looks at Sir Balin. He says, Julio Bandex the Seventh? Each of us have our own faults. We've all done things. But the real test is, are we still here to fight? Are you saying that you're giving up the fight?
Never.
I must confess, I did hesitate before I slain Edgar. Should have known. Did not want to. He tempted me, and I was tempted. But we rise victorious, Julio.
We live.
And that weapon
we'll fight
terrifies
again.
me.
I rise up again, stowing away the Broodbane at my waist. Thank you, my friends.
And I think Bug reaches out and takes you by the forearm and says, brothers. Takes your suit by the forearm and says, brothers. Yes.
I feel like at this point, the cockpit has to open up, and he steps out. He walks along the arm of the suits and places an actual hand on your hand.
I love it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Brothers.
You just feel like slight damp.
That's amazing. What a great scene. So the credits roll as Lady Guinevere and the Space Knights come out of the slipstream to nowhere and arrive to defend it. And now I make space for any epilogues that folks wish to share. Do not feel like you have to. And do try to not overwrite anyone else's epilogue, but I don't anticipate you guys would do that kind of thing. I just like to say it. So who'd like to go first with epilogues? And feel free to pass if you think that was perfectly fine.
I think there's a moment later. Maybe this is even like an after credit scene. Sir Balin is eating Cheetos with oh my goodness, I can't remember his name. Adam right?
Warlock.
Adam Warlock. Yeah.
Yes.
Eating Cheetos, and they're chilling at that bar on Nowhere. When out of his eye he catches Edgar, because Edgar's a clone. There's many Edgars. And Edgar is walking down the street. Sir Balin is shocked, draws his sword, runs out and confronts him, and finds a new Edgar, a new person that he's going to imbue with destiny.
Yes.
Is the actual after credit literally just like he does that spotting, and then it's just the next scene is an Edgar just running down the street like what the as Sir Balin's screaming with a sword above his head.
This crazy vampire knight. That's great. Cool. Stephen or Alex, do either of you want to do an
I'm happy
epilogue?
just to skip, and I enjoyed where Julio ended.
I think what we see from Bug is a number of basically stealth missions from point to point where and it's kind of a montage where you see Bug. Okay. There was a movie called Valerian, and towards the beginning there's a series of sequences where they're meeting different alien species, and I think we go through the sequence, and this is where we have all the fan service for all the Marvel, comic guru kind of people. So like one of the species is like the Akanti, which are the space whales in the Marvel universe, and that kind of stuff. And we see all these little background kind of, oh, they made contact with these people to help with the fight against the dire race and the brood. So, and I think that's all of Bug's, stealth mission, go and, make peace, shake hands, not quite understand how that works, whenever the people don't have hands, and yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, then that will bring our story to a close. We could, of course, do our special move for hooks and the like. So yeah, I think that'll be fun. Let's read through our hooks. Let's do this little bit. End of an episode. So each of you take a look at your hooks and let us know. Do you think there are any of your hooks that impacted the events or the character? Let's start with Julio.
Maybe only the last one. I think
Everyone understands who is in charge now.
Yeah.
That definitely appeared here. Market XP. That's great. And then what about Stephen for Bug? Were there any hooks you felt applied?
I like both of the hooks that I have for the other PCs. One is Sir Balin's vampiric past paints a target on our back. I'll help them with their struggle. And I think the introduction with the Space Knights, speaking of his heroic deeds, is emphasizing that part of him. And then the second one is Julio's battlefield leadership is unproven to us. I'll make sure they don't get us killed. And I think we've now seen proof that against his greatest desires, Julio comes back and came back to make sure that we didn't die.
Yeah, good. That would definitely be an XP for Bug. And then last is Sir Balin. Any hooks you feel like applied?
think maybe it was stretch, but I will show Bug that I have control over my powers. It's within my grasp because I kept my composure with dealing with Edgar and all that. Like I stared into the abyss and I didn't go crazy this time. Didn't necessarily see it on screen, but yeah.
Love it. Cool. That brings the mechanical stuff to an end. Let's do a quick round of stars for our series. I'm looking up the Akanti now because someone said they look wild and I want to see it. Oh, weird. Oh, that's terrifying.
They're like very more fish than whale, but they're whales. I don't know.
They're
They
kind
look
of space
very
whales. They're very
sad history.
Purgill.
yeah.
Very
Yeah.
appropriate for the time because we have the Purgo going on right now with Ahsoka.
It's true.
The thing I remember about the Akanti space whales that made me think of it was in the Brood. The Brood had enslaved them at some point, and they had some way to fight back against the Brood. Some kind of crystalline brain thing, and I don't know the whole story, but yeah. Vague memories from childhood reading comics.
Yay. Awesome. Who wants to throw out a couple stars?
I'll start. I really enjoyed the scene between Sir Balin and Edgar. That debate and that whole process was very good and it was very entertaining to watch. The same thing. The scene with Julio, I literally thought Julio was going to go after the Brood Queen. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and I was like, that's exactly the right thing to do. And then to see that turmoil that you ended up going through, and you looked into the abyss and made the decision to come back, I was like, that's character growth. That's a big deal. I liked seeing that. So yeah.
That was awesome. By the way, I just want to say this. This isn't a star. I just want to say it. So Alex, when you rolled lead on me and you chose the will not be exposed as one of your two options, that was perfect because the exposed was one of the space. If you'd chosen not to choose that meant that I could expose you. One of the space knights was going to mention, "Oh yeah, we saw you start to go after the Brood and like this, and then like eventually coming back." He was going to mention that, but then you actually out and out told them, so it kind of we got to have that moment anyway. But yeah, that was awesome.
I'll throw stars in for the move, the journey move. It ended up taking up pretty much the entire session, which I was okay with. And also Alex for triggering your calamity. I thought it all just kind of flowed together very well. I enjoyed everyone's dilemmas and such. And I think there's some weird deep cut thing about the Merlin and the who was that again? Karnak. Yeah. I need to go watch more
Karnak.
Marvel stuff and find out who Karnak is. I'm interested.
Don't recommend the TV show.
Like like the Inhumans to me are more like notionally interesting than always like I don't know, they're usually not used incredibly well. They actually show up in the Guardians of the Galaxy comic that came out in the mid 2000s, and are fantastic. That's during the War of the Kings series. I quite liked the Inhumans just showing up randomly as the new, like, oh yeah, we're the kings of this entire empire now. What? Anyway, Alex, did you have any stars?
I'm gonna say, like, doing as the last person that stars, I will do the ditto of everyone else's. I really enjoyed the session. The only one I'll really add is Rich for kind of coalescing and not making my calamity, just somehow making it fit into the storyline. I feel like, because
Dude, you gave me a
the
gift.
Brood turn up could just kind of like really mess up a session.
I don't know, man. I thought that was a perfect insertion of your calamity. When you said, yeah, I'm going to take this, and I'm like, that is a bold swing. I'm going to lean hard into that. And I think it paid off big time. That was really fun. I'm glad you liked it. Cool. I love these characters. This felt like more than just 3 sessions. Like, it really felt expansive, and that's a hard thing to do. I always like my stories always feel a little on the small side because there's so much personal interaction, but this one felt very galaxy spanning, and I was thrilled by that, and so much of that comes from you guys, and thank you. Great characters. Really enjoyed all of the choices that you made, and this was a very fun session. So with that, we'll bring the recording to a close. Thank you all.